Hey there, Adam from Splendid Sports. And here we are for a special edition of 3 and 3. I'm joined by Decon Doug and Dylan, Double D Vintage Baseball Cards, two people who have already been on 3 and 3, and they're back for the special edition. Here's what we're going to do. We are, in the normal 3 and 3, I have a guest who shows three cards that are three of their favorites in their collection, and they tell us why. And then we look at three cards that are on their want list. What we're going to do here, actually, it was Scott at Reindeer Studios. He gave me an idea when I had him on a 3 and 3, and he said, you should do a 3 and 3 of yourself. And I couldn't figure out how to do that with myself. So I said, here's how I could do it. I'm going to have two of my buddies on, right? And we're going to do a 3 and 3. But what we're going to do in this one, in the special edition, is we're each going to show one card of our favorites. And it's going to be a different card than these two guys showed in their last 3 and 3. I'm also going to show one of my favorites, and we're going to tell why. And then we're each going to talk about one card on our want list. So really, it's the same number of cards that we're going to be looking at and talking about, but it's just going to be divided up amongst the three of us. Sound good?
Sounds good to me.
Sounds like the funnest night ever.
Yeah.
I don't know if this will be the new format moving forward. I'm testing it out. Maybe I'll do a few of these. Maybe that's what I'll do, all of them moving forward like this. But hey, it's fun either way. So before though we get into the 3 and 3, I want to do a little hobby talk, if that's okay with you guys.
Sounds good.
All right. So let's start. Doug, I saw on one of your recent videos, you have an incredible Italian Ted Williams card that is so cool. A card that I didn't even know existed before you showed it on your channel, and actually on the 3 and 3 that you did with me. And you mentioned that is a card that you are going to get graded.
Yes.
So I wanted to ask you, what do you have a plan? What company are you going to send it to? Are you going to send it to SGC, PSA, or someone else? And just give us a little idea on why you're going to do what you're going to do.
So my obvious answer, and here it is, the answer that seems most obvious to me is SGC, because I like their service. I like the quality of their service. And I think that their cards, the Tux looks better than anything else for a vintage card to me. The one consideration that I did have was that I happen to have the whole set of this. Is that what if I wanted a set registry? That would make me think of PSA, but I really don't think I care about a set registry. So SGC, definitely SGC for pretty much all of my vintage cards.
Yeah. So that's Dylan. What do you think about that? Like, if it was, what would you do in the same situation?
Well, I like SGC. I think their tuxes look really good. I've been diverting a lot back to PSA lately, but not if I'm going to grade cards, I'm going to send it in like Doug's. I would go SGC because I've experienced really good service with SGC. Their grades look very fair. I feel like it's a lot off of eye appeal, and I really like the quality of SGC, the service, but the slabs, they're thick and they are bulky, and I really have been buying a lot more PSAs because the cases are better, and I've been with collected PSA for so long. But SGC looks amazing, and the vintage stuff, it just makes the card pop. It's really awesome.
I have mixed feelings too, because I do like how vintage cards look in SGC. Are the slabs a little bigger than I'd like? Yes, but it's not the end of the world. Obviously, I like the quick turnaround times, but look, if I get it at this point, it's not that big for me. It's not like a huge thing anymore because, I can get my card back in like a week or two with SGC, which is awesome. But PSA is running maybe a month now, maybe a couple months. So it's not like you're going to be waiting years. So that gap, I think, is only going to get closer and closer to a point where I would predict like this time next year, I wouldn't be shocked if they're the same as far as their like turnaround times, because PSA is they're building new offices. I think they'll get it to a point where it's not even that much of a competitive advantage anymore for SGC. And then, yeah, it's going to be tough because, like you said, Doug, there's no registry. So,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. You know what's funny? I've been selling a few cards here and there lately, and you want to talk about perfect examples of how powerful the registry is in like people's buying decisions. I think it was at least 5 cards that I've sold in the last couple months. After I sold the card, like within a week, I got an email from PSA Set Registry saying the new owner of this card wants you to remove it from yours so they can add it to theirs. So clearly, it was like something right on their mind. It's a motivating factor for why they bought that card in a PSA holder. So it's real. I mean, it's not like I've seen it in action, real world stuff. I've bought cards where it was like I could get the same card in SGC versus PSA, but I'm thinking, all things being equal, I might as well just buy the PSA one if it's pretty close in price, because I'll get a little credit on the registry, and you don't get anything for the registry, but I think it's fun. I don't know if have you guys ever done anything with it?
I haven't.
Nope.
Yeah,
it's different. I mean, it's not something that like I think you have to do to have fun in the hobby, but when you do start doing it, it's kind of, when you start to see it, it's pretty cool because you're competing against other people in a way, but you're also competing against yourself, your former collection, which I kind of like as you see it improve in your rankings and all this stuff. They've really done a good. It's probably a good idea if you don't want to spend extra money that you probably wouldn't have spent anyways, probably to stay away from it for the time being, because it definitely will encourage you to spend money you probably wouldn't have.
So this isn't a card that I planned on showing, but so this is a card where I love this card. This is one of my favorite looking cards, and it's just a Sam Jethro. It's not worth much. I think this would look so much better in a tux. Just generally speaking, that is definitely my feeling, is that it's just the card looks better in a tux. I just feel like this is like a little bit of an eyesore. This little it's like not that nice. This little label.
Yeah.
I mean, it's petty, but just compared to like the simplicity of and I'm going in here of like this guy, it just looks so sharp. But anyway, that's all aesthetic.
Because you don't do much selling right now, do you, Doug?
No, I don't do a lot. I do selling, but I sell more modern cards and then some vintage cards occasionally.
Well, I think that PSA, I mean, they crushed it with the registry. I don't use it. I've never even been on there, but I totally understand the psychology of it. And I think it's a wonderful idea. It's a wonderful product. I guess that's what it would be. And I think that the PSA, they obviously have a grip on it. And if I have an option and the prices are the same and the turnaround time is the same, I'm going to go PSA 100%. But that's only because of the resale value and the trust that I know I feel like I've had my whole life with them. And they're thin. They're nice. You can fit a lot more in a book or on just anywhere. They're just smaller. But SGC has been absolutely amazing. I don't want to take anything away from them. And I would go with them 100% if, they offered those registry type things. Even though I don't use the registry, I understand how valuable it is. So buying an expensive, nice card, I tend to go towards PSA. And I always hunt PSAs first. I always have. I'm probably about 90% PSA in my collection and the rest SGC, and then a tiny portion of BVGs. So what are you guys on your collection itself? Where are you guys at on that?
Doug?
Well, one thing I do like about the BVGs and the CGS, right? See, I don't know. I'm dyslexic in all these acronyms.
Yes,
is that they're you definitely get deals. But I also notice much more grading inconsistency with those graders. So SGC and PSA to me are like at PSA. I mean, I go to the PSA site all the time for the pop report. Like that is like they're the gold standard for pop reports and registries. So if I want to know like how rare is this card, even if I'm gonna buy it in an SGC, I'll go to the PSA Pop Report because I'll feel like that's where more people will have their cards registered in general. And the lesser tier companies, I go to them. The lower two of the four, I go to them just because you can get a steal sometimes.
That's perfect. I agree with that 100%. That was awesome.
Yeah. So, we said some nice things about PSA here. I do it one quickly before we get into our cards here. I saw it was Nat Turner, who's the head of Collectors Universe, who owns PSA. And I happened to hear him recently. He was on the Sports Card Nation podcast with John Newman. And I was kind of surprised that I heard him say that he submits his own cards as the head of the company, submits his own cards to PSA, and they grade his own cards. It got me thinking. Like, I'm not saying I can pretty much almost 100% probably say nothing's going on with that, because like, why would it's not worth like trying to bribe graders and all this stuff like this. I'm not saying there's anything going on that's bad there, but just from an optics standpoint, it made me think of another podcast I listened to, Dr. Beckett's podcast. And he has said multiple times that during the heyday of the Beckett price guides, he pretty much, I think he said he stopped all his buying, all his collecting, while he didn't want to even create the appearance of any potential conflict of interest when he was doing his thing with Beckett. And it's such a stark contrast from, you have the head of Collectors Universe submitting cards to PSA. You have the people who run Card Ladder. They buy and sell all the time. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying anything bad's going on. It's just, I wanted to get your thoughts on, like, boy, things have changed since the 80s and 90s on how these hobby companies operate now, and the people that run them operate. Dylan, go ahead first.
Okay, dude. I listen to both those podcasts religiously. Dr. Beckett, full blown, like he's the god of sports cards for all of us, especially born, raised in the 80s. Like, I live by Beckett. This is why I love value in baseball cards. I love to know values. I have studied values. I love all that because of Dr. Beckett. And then John's podcast is just awesome. And he always interviews the coolest things. So I listen to both of those. And I found that very surprising myself. And I thought Dr. Beckett went on the super safe side of just no more collecting, no more, just like hands off. The drug dealer or should not be involved in doing the drugs, right? Like, hands off. And I thought Nat Turner's, it's like, if he's a collector, I want him to keep collecting. And I think that's a huge part of being a good CEO of that company, is being involved in collecting. So if he just stopped collecting, then that would be, I feel like he could get lost and not be focused on collecting and understand what we really want. And him sending the cards, where else is he supposed to send them? And if there was an issue with his card becoming a PSA 10, there's definitely problems with that. Was it a smart decision? Maybe not. Maybe he should just keep all his cards just ungraded. And then when it's all said and done, he can get them graded one day. I don't know. There's no right and wrong in that. I trust him. I think he's a real collector, and I wouldn't take anything negative about doing that. And I would never count that against PSA. I'm not going to be anti that because of that conversation. I thought it was great. I thought he was honest. I absolutely loved it. So that's my take. I think was it smart? Maybe not, but he's in it. He's collecting. So that's my thought.
Yeah. So I'm reacting fresh because I didn't hear it before you told me, Adam. So I feel like it's not that big of a deal. But I can see, the appearance of conflict of interest. I think PSA has to watch it. And I think Nat Turner needs to watch it. I would take pains, if I was him, to try to channel my cards in an anonymous way or something like that. And then like, go through like a third party or something, and just kind of like make it super clear that my name's not on the order when I process it, and just kind of like, clear the air. I think I would try to do that anyway, just to try to, get rid of any appearance of a conflict of interest or, unfairness going on there. So I think he should watch it. But I like Dylan said, I don't want to stop. I wouldn't, if he's into cards, he's not going to stop collecting cards. And if he's going to get his cards graded, he's going to go to his own company, because it looks really bad if he does. It's the dumbest thing if he gets his card graded somewhere else.
True.
But yeah, so I don't have a big problem with it. I do think he should take pains to avoid any appearance of a conflict of interest.
Yeah, it just made me think about Dr. Beckett, and man, that he was not messing around. I mean, obviously you can tell by his podcast that, he loves cards and lifelong collector, but man, that must have been tough to stop buying cards for, I don't know how long he stopped for, but even a small period of time. I mean, that says a lot. I mean, he was really committed to what he was doing, where he was willing to just give up collecting or buying cards. That kind of, just the contrast really hit me more than anything. I don't think, again, now, things are so watched now that, like you said, if he did it a different way, maybe Nat Turner gets grilled even more. Oh, he tried to do it through a back channel. So,
that's true. Yeah.
Like, you can't win. Like, the only way you could possibly avoid any chance is just to stop grading cards altogether until, like you said, maybe he's not in the role anymore. But yeah. So anyway, I thought it was interesting because there's a ton of stuff now. You got the sports card radio guys going after Nat Turner for doing this. So keep an eye. There's going to be more. It's going to be a lot more stuff.
Yeah, right. I think the bottom line is that Dr. Beckett's a badass, right?
Yeah.
I think we can all agree on that.
He's a genius. Just get out of it. Wipe your hands of it.
Let's bring him in. Surprise guest, Dr.
Yeah, Dr. Beckett. I got him.
In there.
I wish. All right, guys. Well, let's get rolling here. Who wants to show the first card of the favorite, one of the favorites in your collection? Whoever wants to go, feel free.
This time.
Not me. I'm not going first.
Why don't you go, Dylan? You got a great one.
Well, you want me to?
Yeah, go for it. You were the first guest ever.
I say,
yeah.
You're the first guest. However,
right.
I think it'd be good for the show if we argue about it a little bit.
Yeah.
Great TV, guys. Great TV.
Yeah. All right, cool. It's all yours.
All right. So first, Adam, thanks for having us both on here. This has been awesome. So exciting for me to hang out with my friends and talk about cards. This is what I dreamed about when I started a YouTube channel and why I got into just making content, because I wanted to have friends in this hobby. And people, I think they hesitate maybe for a million reasons. I hesitated because I didn't want to put myself out there and show myself on camera and be myself. And just, I was really tucked in. And then I let myself out and things have just flourished. And I have real friends. Both of you guys I talk to and text on a weekly basis. And it's just been really fun. So you let me on your first episode because I begged to be on because I listened to all your podcasts, Adam.
Yeah. I'm just glad you wanted to talk to me.
Yeah, I was so excited. So one of the cards that I said was on my list, and it was number 2 at that time, but really it should have been number 1, and I went after it. So, and I got it. So that is this card right here. Pull this, took the glass off. That is the Hank Aaron Topps rookie card.
It's amazing. It's awesome.
Really show it in this, but it doesn't matter. I took a lot of time. It wasn't a jump decision. It wasn't just like, that's the one. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, yes, that's the one. I just pushed the button and bid and I won. But this was a long time, years of thinking about buying this card. And with YouTube, really learning about like what the eye appeal is and asking my wife as an artist to look at my wall and which ones stand out to her. And they're the centered ones with very nice pictures. Just really nice registration and just clarity and that pop. And this one just popped. Yeah, good centering. With the rounded corners, I didn't think with a 2 it was going to be creased, so I spent my time and sent it to a couple friends and like which one looks better and had a screenshot. Spent a lot of time looking for it. So I was like, when I did it, it was on my 42nd birthday, and it was September 4th. And I bought the card. I put my bid in, and I won it to the dollar. And I put it in the last second, like a full rush, like a drug addict, just like boom, go, get it. And I got it, and I have it, and it's been such like it's a weird thing, but it's like a weight lifted off my shoulders, a collecting weight. And now I just like, wow, I absorbed it in my collection, and I was able to sell other cards to compensate over the last year. And I didn't have to take money out of the bank, and now I have it in my collection. I've never been happier. So that's the card I picked up, and thanks Adam for the motivation of the first video to get it. And the next card I want to get.
Wait.
Oh.
No, we don't want to say that yet.
Okay.
let's do that. Let's show each one of us one of our cards. Then we're gonna come back and do those. All right.
Okay, sounds perfect.
But that is so cool that we were on here. You said you wanted it, put it out in the universe, and then you made it happen. That's so cool to see a friend get a card that I know they just wanted so badly. That it's such a cool thing. And to play a small part, that was awesome. Happy to see. And what a copy you got too, man. That thing is incredible.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh, it's so awesome.
Pretty stoked.
Yeah.
Zero regrets. A lot of cards I bought have like, you stare at something for so long. This thing, I look at it every day, and I still am very happy with my decision. So
Hank Aaron got one rookie card. Think about that. Like, there's one Hank Aaron card compared to Juan Soto's 7,842 rookie cards.
And he has 71 of ones.
Yes, exactly.
That's a whole nother podcast in itself.
Yeah. All right, Doug, let's go. Let's see.
All right.
One of the cards on your want list.
So
one of your favorites.
First of all, I'll give Dylan. This is an opportunity for me to give Dylan his props because when I first saw Dylan's, I heard.
Wait a minute.
Hold on. Did it just die?
Dylan, you're not going to get your props. Doug froze. Wait a minute.
Oh,
wait,
no.
He'll come back. Hold on.
He said he was having problems earlier.
Can you hear me?
Wait a minute.
You're going to have to give me love all over again.
Am I full on back?
You are back.
So, so I have to give Dylan his props because when I first heard about Dylan on a live stream, I heard someone mention his name, and I checked him out, and I was absolutely delighted. It was like in terms of like seeing videos and feeling energized and back feeling like you did as a kid with that youthful enthusiasm. I was blown away, and I was like, man, this guy is awesome. Like I'm not gonna miss his episodes, and I haven't missed an episode since, and I was never expecting that to be friends with you. I just didn't expect to be friends with anybody on YouTube.
Likewise.
So big props to Dylan. And then Dylan introduced me to you, Adam, mentioning you on his show, and then seeing your 3-3. So props to both you guys, and I love your show, Adam. So this is just that opportunity to just get that out there. And you also kept me honest. This isn't my card, but you kept me honest because this was one of my cards.
Yep.
And I did pick it up. So you kept both Dylan and I honest. So props to you on that too.
No, that is a great.
Yeah. So I was gonna pick that one just for sort of the the continuation there, but I just can't. Since I've gotten this card, I like it more and more like each day. And it's possibly my favorite card in my collection. It's just such an amazing looking, artful card, and it's in my mind significant. I know that recently more and more people are saying this is a 1949 card and not a 1948 card. I don't really care. All I know is if you look at the Bowman 1948 Spawn and tell me if you'd rather have that.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, and this is no disrespect to Bowman, and this is even no disrespect to that card. It just doesn't compare to this visually, and it's not the nicest Spawn card. Whereas this maybe is. So that was. I'm super excited about that. I collect Warren Spawn, and he's a big deal in the hobby. Amazing career. So that's my pick.
That's cool. So that probably, like, I don't know all his cards, but yeah. So you have Warren Spawn's best card.
Yeah, I mean, I think I do.
That's awesome.
There are other cards that people could argue. I think it's the 1951 Bowman's really cool. The 1954 Red Heart is really cool. And then people love his 53 Tops and his 52 Tops. Also, the 1953 Bowman Spawn actually might be second best.
All right. So let's go, I guess, with mine. Ready? All right. So
Yeah.
Interview you.
Here we go. Now, of course, my first card that I'm showing on a 3-and-3, I'm going to cheat because it's actually going to be two card process.
It's only fair. I think I cheated. I cheated every time. I cheated just now.
So I picked a card that I feel like really sums up how I collect baseball. And it's really two main things. It's junk wax era cards from when I was a kid that meant a lot to me, still mean a lot to me. And with a lot of them, I've been trying to go back and collect the highest grade version that I can of those cards because, with those cards, a lot of times the price difference between like in this card I'm going to show, the price difference between a PSA 9 and a PSA 10 is maybe $10 or something like that. There's not a huge gap there, so I might as well go for the 10 if I can. So I try to collect high grade examples of cards that meant a lot to me when I was a kid and growing up. And then what you'll see here, I also like to go back and try to collect vintage cards. So what I'm showing, let me pull this up. Let's go here. All right.
Yes.
So what we have here is 1987 Tops. I know the three of us, that set alone, just the set 87 Tops means a lot to us and many guys our age. And this is the 1987 Tops Turn Back the Clock card of Roberto Clemente. I mean, when I was a kid, opening, this isn't the one I had, I went back and bought this one after, but I have several in my collection that are raw that from when I was a kid. But just opening this out of a pack of 87 Tops, this was in many ways one of my introductions to vintage cards. So, and Dylan, we've talked about this, but one of the things we first connected over was I found someone else who has a deep love for cards on cards, or whatever you want to say.
Oh my gosh.
The Turn Back the Clock cards, they're a thing that, like, I feel like everyone our age that I talk to about, they go, oh yeah, but there's not many people who like buy them now. Like if you could get these for like $20-$30 PSA 10. And there's not a high pop because not many people grade them, but just the significance of the Turn Back the Clock cards, they created, in my opinion, so many what are now vintage collectors. So many guys in their 40s now that grew up in the junk wax era and now are going back and buying the vintage cards, some of them that they first saw on a card like this, the Turn Back the Clock card. So, the Turn Back the Clock cards, I could do a whole episode on them, but I love them. I love what they mean to me. I love the way they look. I just love the concept. And so the second part is this for me. I know it's not his most valuable card, but this is my favorite Clemente card.
Oh man, yeah.
Awesome.
So we got the original.
You just had me
Oh,
pull
there
up
we
my,
are.
my
Oh,
childhood card because
Dylan's
that
looking.
1987 Tops was my intro, but that's awesome. Yeah.
So, just to pair them together.
so what is that thing, Adam? There's a podcast. There's a podcast. What are we looking at there?
I'm sorry, 72 Tops PSA 6. Nice copy, but
Wow.
so that's one of the ways I like to collect baseball is, like especially turn back the clock cards. I have a bunch of turn back the clock cards in like PSA 10s that I like to collect, and then I like to go back and collect nice eye appeal examples of the originals. So I've done that.
That's awesome.
Maybe I'll do a whole video on that someday. But this is my favorite turn back the clock card and my favorite Clemente card. Something about him, tossing the ball in the air and the design of the 72 top set. Dylan, I know you're big on design, and this looks such a cool design to me.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, I figured this really tells the big story of how I collect baseball cards. It's all nostalgia and kind of going back to those two different times.
That's so cool. And I don't know what Adam, what was your first year into baseball cards, or what was like the golden year that you entered?
It was honestly probably 86 or 87. I was born in 81, so I was either 5 or 6 when I remember. I think I said this on one of your video response ones, but the 87 Tops was the first cards I can remember opening from a pack. Might have been before that.
That was my entry, 87.
Yep.
Me too. Same thing.
Dylan, I know you love that set.
That 72 Tops Roberto Clemente was the very first Roberto Clemente vintage card I ever purchased in my life, 20-something years ago.
Wow.
Like,
I didn't know.
and I didn't think about it until this, thinking that I probably psychologically had seen that card so many times because of the 87 Tops on the turn back the clock cards, because I love those things. That's why I purchased it. I mean, I love that image too. Throwing the ball up, it's different. It's something unique. That's awesome. Great choice.
Just quick note. What do you think about this idea? Because I like to think, sometimes I like to pretend I'm like the head of a sports card company, grading company.
Right.
In this case, if I'm running Fanatics, right, and they want to drive up demand for not only the current cards that are coming out, but I think they're going to probably build a marketplace at some point where they're going to sell graded cards. So they want to they want to drive up sales of vintage cards and junk wax era graded cards. I know they Topps still kind of does a little turn back the clock stuff, but they don't do like card on card stuff. Like, so if I'm Fanatics, then you can give a 2023, whenever they start making these cards, take a little, a new spin on it. But here's an idea: bring back turn back the clock cards, but make them of Don Mattingly's Topps rookie card, Ken Griffey Jr.'s Topps rookie card, Wade Boggs, whoever, all the guys from, when we were kids, right? Make cards of those, but you could do it where 100 of them are autographed, right? So it's more of a chase too. So they'll have the base version and you can do the autographed ones. I think that would, especially some of the younger collectors, like it did for us, I think it could help them get more interested in cards of, you could do it for vintage, but you could also do it to get them more interested in the cards of the 80s and the 90s and whatever. What do you think about that idea?
I think it's a great idea. I also think it appeals to the older crowd too. It's I think it's a great idea. I think that's awesome. I like that. Let's go with that.
Addicts, I know you watch this, so go ahead and please do that, because I will buy those. I'll buy I don't buy much of the new stuff, but I would buy new stuff if they had turn back the clock cards in them. Okay, I'm just saying.
That's why I buy Topps Archives. Only cards I buy during the year are pretty much Topps Archives blasters, because you can see the old stuff, the new players on old designs. It keeps me as a vintage collector, spending a little money with Topps. So I think your idea is perfect, and they should definitely implement that.
Multi-generational demand you create with these techniques.
Oh yeah. And I like that term. I think that's a really good term.
Like you said, oh my gosh, that'd be awesome. I'd buy more for sure.
All right, cool. I like to ask you guys because sometimes I just think of things in my head and I don't know if I'm crazy or not. So, all right, cool. Good to know I'm not crazy, at least some of the time.
That's what we're doing here. We're talking about
Yeah.
baseball. So,
That's true. So, all right, Dylan. Now I'm ready. Let's look at your one on your want list here. Let me pull up. You sent me this ahead of time.
1941,
So we got the 1941
Ted
play
Williams,
ball. Ted Williams.
the greatest, arguably, maybe not arguably, but probably the greatest baseball season in history. The most iconic. Everything about 1941 was magical. And the way I've been collecting cards lately, I've been really trying to buy cards with an experience attached to it, whether, I experienced it or whether someone else experienced it, whether, like MVP status, stuff like that. Not just base cards of just a random season they had. I'm trying to focus my collection a little more, and I'm doing this MVP series. So this is part of that whole deal in my mind because it's a card that I should have had already in my collection. But as a kid, a Ted Williams card to me was, I could never afford this card. To me, it was like $10,000. Just like every card was $10,000 when I was a kid. And I was no way I'd ever be able to afford it. But as I'm getting older and realizing that I could buy these lower grades because of YouTube, and my thoughts and mind have changed regarding lower grades and more based on eye appeal, it has opened a whole new market up to me over the last 2.5 years. And realizing that I could buy a Ted Williams play ball card for $1,000 that looks really awesome. I mean, he hit 406 in 1941, and he didn't even win the MVP because of Joe DiMaggio's, I think, his 56 hitting streak. Like, it's just a magical season and everything about it, the history of the time. So that's why I want that card. And the look of the card is spectacular. It's just the colors. I love that set. I have a Jimmy Fox on the wall behind me, and I have a lefty Gomez behind me. I just love it. So I should have had this card already, but it's definitely on my number one. And I think it skipped ahead of the 53 Topps Mickey Mantle, which I really want, but I want this more because of the history behind it. And I've read a lot of books about Ted Williams. I know a lot of things about Ted Williams. He's my favorite player of all time. And I grew up with pictures of him in my bedroom as a kid my whole life. And when you look at my collection, I have more doubles and triples and quadruples of Ted Williams base cards than any cards in my collection. I probably have 60 playing day cards of Ted Williams. I could just buy Ted Williams cards and buy the same card the rest of my life, and I'd be happy. So this 41 fits perfectly without saying anything else. I'm just so excited. I'm just like, I really want this card, but I'm willing to be patient. And hopefully, even patient enough to go to the National and pick it up in the flesh. One of those. So, yep, that's it.
The 40 play ball, isn't it the same images, but they're just black and white? Am I right on that?
Yeah, and it just doesn't have the history behind it in my mind. And the black and white cards are second on my tier of collecting, which I still like them. I just don't have many of them. So different.
Yeah, I love this. I love the shadow. That is just great, great art right there.
Yeah, it's my favorite Ted Williams card of all time. Like, if that's one Ted Williams card I could own, that's the one I should have more than any of the others because of the history behind it, and the card looks amazing. But so that's it.
And that's funny too, because I'm sort of doing that with my collection now. I'm in a transition where I'm trying to look at all the players that I want cards of that I don't have. Roy Campanella, I don't have any of his cards. I don't have any Ernie Banks cards. I got a whole list because I've gone so deep into like a handful of players, Mickey Mantle, Ted Williams. So what I'm trying to do now is just kind of like what you said, pick out my favorite one, maybe two cards of those players. Not Mickey Mantle. I'm keeping going with that. But like with Ted Williams, Stan Musials, Willie Mays, some of these guys, I'm gonna maybe look to sell some of the cards I have of that, even though it's gonna be tough. And then just pick out one or two of my favorites and have those, and then that will free up some money, hopefully, to go out and get, you know, my favorite Campanella card and my favorite Ernie Banks card and so on. So that's what I'm looking at doing right now.
That's cool. Yeah, I think YouTube and podcasts had a lot of influence on our eyeballs, but in a of running it through our brains and realizing what we should be doing for the future. That's my thoughts, but yeah, it's awesome. So, and that Roy Campanella rookie, quick story on the side, Mark. I don't want to break the cat out of the bag, but someone on the show just got one, and I was bidding on the same card and pushed it.
Really?
Yep.
Oh,
That was
I didn't know
yesterday.
that.
That was yesterday.
Look at you! Wow.
Yesterday. Yeah, we were both bidding on the same card. A 1.5 Roy Campanella. We didn't know. Luckily, we weren't much higher than the second highest bidder. So, but yeah. So I had to apologize to Dylan, but he'll do well without that card for now. He's
spend $10 more.
Hey, I'm just happy you guys are still talking and still friends after that feud right there. Over
Awesome.
No feud. I mean, we'll pretend there was a feud, but
yeah,
no, it was like we're both sorry, and then Dylan was like,
yeah. That's awesome. Well, I'll look forward to hearing about that further. All right, Doug. So you sent me yours. I can always count on you, Doug, to help me discover a card I didn't even know existed. So this is the 1940. Oh, you say it because I don't think I can pronounce it as good.
Well, I don't know if I think so. Right now, I haven't seen. It's the 1945 Carmelo Deportivo Cuban League. Yeah. So I'll go with that.
Here we go.
And it's Orestes Minoso, also known as Mini Minoso.
Here's one right into the SGC slab. A nice tux for you. Is that it?
Okay. Yeah, that's it. So and man, I love this card. I really love this card. And it reminds me of a 1931 cut card set, which I can't remember right now. It's like M something, where it has that little dot with the number, that little ball with the number on the lower side. But Mini Minoso is one of the when I first got back into collecting cards, I had a focus on former Negro League players who had made it to the big leagues, and it's still a huge interest and focus of mine. Hence the Campy card I just got last night. But Mini Minoso was like one of the first people I focused on collecting in vintage when I came back, which was I came back in 2018 and I got more and more into vintage. So maybe 2019 was when I started collecting Mini Minoso cards, and didn't know about this card. Didn't know about this card until probably the last year or so. But I've also been looking at what cards are actual, Negro League playing days cards. And this is one of those great few that are, this is the Cuban League before he was on the New York Cubans. So I believe this is a Cuban card in a Cuban league. And then he came to the New York Cubans, which was in the Negro Leagues in America. Just shortly after probably, this card. I love this card for so many reasons. And I think it looks amazing. And it means so much to me. So it's just a really powerful card.
Do you have any idea, like, how were these cards? Were these in packs or like?
No, that I don't know.
Yeah, I knew nothing about these cards.
Yeah, I don't know. They're Cuban, so I know. I think that they were distributed in Cuba. So I mean I think that's all I know. And I don't even know that definitively. But they're Cuban cards. But their distribution, I don't know definitively.
I just know it looks awesome, and I
Yeah.
love the name. So and the player.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
It's-
That is a really cool. Now I'm gonna want to look to see who else is in this set and all the and go down the road.
there are a lot of really cool cards in this set. There are a lot of there are some other significant Negro League players in this set. But just about Minnie Minoso, of course, he was elected to the Hall of Fame this year. He had at bats for in 5 different decades in the major leagues, despite starting in the Negro Leagues. the second 2 were stunts in the 1970s and the 1980s, but it's a cool story anyway.
And Doug, you're not the only one clearly that wants this card, because this one just sold back in August. An SGC 1 sold for $1,440. So I'm sure these are not common. You don't find them very often. They probably don't come up for sale a lot. So when they do, it's one of those cards when it is up for auction, you got to try to pounce on it.
Yeah, definitely. I've never pounced on a $1,400 card, so that's gonna have to wait.
Especially when Dylan's gonna be bidding you up.
Exactly. Sorry, you paid $1,570. Yeah.
I'm gonna
That's
find
awesome.
it and then make sure you pay for that thing.
Yeah. All right, so my turn. So here we go. I got sales history pulled up. So the card that I want to talk about on my want list this was a huge Chase card back when I was a kid. I'm typing Chase because my cat jumped up on the desk here, so distracted me. So it's a 1992 Musial Mantle. I'm just gonna do here it is. But it's gonna be auto. Let's see. Here we go. It looks like it just sold. Wow, I didn't know that. So here we go. Man, this card. I need this card to come down in price. Is what I need. So what we have here. This is a 92 score. The franchise Musial Mantle Yaz auto card, autographed with a gold Sharpie, which adds even more coolness to the card. Triple auto of 3 of my favorites. I mean, just 3 legends. I love the look of the card, the poses. I love every single thing about this card. I have this card, the non-autograph version. I have it, but a total dream card would be to get somehow the auto version, which, what's funny? I think about this. You know how many unopened boxes of 92 score that are still out there in warehouses and wherever? And who knows? There's probably a bunch that are just sitting there in those boxes that, who knows, maybe they'll never get opened at this rate. But I don't know. There's not many out there. And I think they made, maybe, I don't know, I have to look, but it was not a lot of them, maybe 500 or maybe 100, not a ton. But I just think this is such an awesome, to have 3 autos like this on this card would be, again, a dream card for me. It's so expensive. I don't know if it will go down in price over time, but yeah, this one just sold for $68.75.
Wow.
So they're expensive, and this was not that grade matters. This was a PSA 6 with 9 auto. So as far as grading goes, not a tremendous grade for a 1992 card, but that just goes to show you how tough these are to find, and also how much demand is out there for this.
Yeah, I think that to me the coolest thing about that card is that it had to make its way to all 3 of those guys, and then get put into rotation. I just think that's because they're all on card, obviously, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I gotta jump in. Right now. I'm like dying right now. Chomping at the bit. Okay, Adam, this card right here, this set. When I was a kid, is that a 92?
Yes.
So I was 12 years old. I was trying to get the date right. I had a friend, I won't leave his last name, but his name was Craig. And we are friends our whole lives. I'm not friends with him any longer. I haven't touched with him. But back then, we were best of friends. He had a birthday party. And we all got goodie bags. And in every goodie bag was a pack of 1992. Is that Score Select or Score back then, right?
The score, the regular score. Yeah. Yep.
Well, out of those packs, he pulled a Carl Yastrzemski autograph card, and it was like, it just was out of control. He was the birthday boy, and there's like probably 12 of us there, and we all had Goodie Bags one pack. And the birthday boy at his house pulled the Yaz autograph, the same one you're looking at, except with just one with just the Yaz on it, different guys, but same set. And it was crazy. Like, we thought he just won the lottery. It was the greatest moment. He had that card pinned on the top of his bed with a pin in a penny sleeve, though, where the penny sleeve was pinned over his bed for like a decade. And I'd go over there and we'd look at that card. I kid you not. I reached out to him about a year and a half ago on Instagram. Not friends with him. He doesn't live anywhere close to me. I asked him about the card. He said it's in his attic. And I thought at the time, my memory thought it was Sandy Koufax's autograph that he pulled. But I found out it was Yaz's because he had a Sandy Koufax autograph pinned to his wall of a brochure that his dad went to a game. So that card was over his bed. And I've thought of that card for I'm 42. So 30 years I've been thinking of that card, which is basically the same card you're showing. Different players, but the same set, the same like aura around it. And for me to see someone like you talk about that card, I'm just like, I want that card so bad too. I mean, $6,000, like, I don't know, but the one my friend had of Yaz is doable, and his was in the attic, and he said rats, and there was a leak, so he hasn't seen it, but I reached out to him not too long ago, and he still has it. But I'm so glad you shared that, because that is a really special card for people in our era, because those were one of the first autographs inserted in packs, and we didn't realize they were in there. And then when that's it. Good choice.
So those who aren't maybe familiar with the set, there's that triple card. Now I've only I've opened so many packs of that. Like when I was a kid, a few years ago, I went back and bought a bunch of boxes just for fun off of eBay. Obviously didn't get, I got one, I got a Stan Musial, just the franchise, no auto. And I was like, so happy. It was like such a big win just to get the non-auto one. And just the idea of opening a pack of that and pulling out, they have a single auto of Musial, a single auto of Mantle, a single Yaz auto, and then they got the triple one, which is obviously the crown jewel. But any of those, I've even gone on YouTube just to see if I could find like somebody opening a pack and pulling one of those. And there's a bunch of people like breakers that broke these, like especially over the last couple of years as prices climbed and everything and interest rose. And I've never seen anyone get one. Never seen any of these autos pulled. And I looked at pop reports. These things are like mythical. There's some out there, but there's probably just so many that either got thrown away or are still sitting in warehouses in unopened cases and boxes that will probably never be opened. At this point, they'll probably just throw them away. But yeah, it's just that's what makes the card so special, is that knowing how hard it was to pull out of a pack.
For sure.
Yeah.
And so I think even adding to that is that was an era where there were hardly any special cards. So which makes it all the more special, is that it is like a supremely special card in an era where there are so few. It's like such slim pickings that it stands out even more.
Yeah, it's literally like you open a box, it's like junk, like,
yeah,
and it's score too. So like, look, I never want to talk too badly about the junk wax era because I have a very soft spot for it. But there's certain products like Score where the base cards are just junk. I don't like the way they look, the way they feel. But these insert card, the inserts, it was just like, it's like hitting the lottery.
We're no
Powerball. Literally like hitting Powerball.
we're not friends anymore. Score to me is like, I couldn't find Score. Score was like, that was the best.
So, well, some were okay, but like, the base set of 92 Score.
All right. All right.
You know what okay, I know what it is. I have bad feelings about it because I've opened so many packs and never gotten the cards I wanted out of them. So I'm like biased in a bad way. So I apologize. They're really not that bad.
We'll help you work through your trauma.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I had the sports card therapist on last episode.
Yes, actually, he should have helped you with that.
I don't think we worked anything out. So anyway, it was fun either way.
That's awesome.
Well, guys, did you have fun? I had fun doing this.
I had a blast. Yep.
Without, being a part of this whole YouTube thing, it's been such a blessing in my life because I'm able to connect with people like I've never connected with people. And I've talked about this before. Friendships are not easy at our age, and to make new friends is really hard, and it's not that fun. And I know because I moved from everything I ever knew in life and stepped into a new world 6 years ago. So I know, how hard it is. And stepping into this, I've created real true friendships, and both of you guys have been a blessing in my life. And I look forward to hanging out and talking about baseball cards, things that I've been not secretly hiding from everyone, but secretly loving because no one else cares. Except for one friend growing up. So it's been so awesome. And nights like this, I look forward to, and I have a really good time doing it. And so I thank you guys for this opportunity. And I appreciate both of you guys' friendships and all this. So
I feel the same way. I was telling this to my wife the other night. I said, if you were to tell Adam of like a year and a half ago or 2 years ago that you're going on StreamYard with a couple buddies from your sports card hobby that you watch their videos every week and you text with, and when you pick, like, I would be like, what?
yes.
That's no way. But here we are. And it's been a really nice thing for me. I mean, I'm so happy I jumped on YouTube and put myself out there. And I was like, if I could meet one person that I connect with and like think alike and want to tell them about the 92 triple auto card and they actually know what I'm talking about and get excited about it too, that would have been just a bonus. But the fact that it's multiple, it's you guys and some others that it's awesome. So yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate you taking the time. This means a lot to me to be able to do these things.
And I agree, and I want to thank both you guys, Adam, for creating this vehicle, Dylan. That was, for you. I think you're like the ambassador of youthful enthusiasm in sports cards. So we have to keep you around at all costs. Exactly.
I've been working on it. I wasn't a natural.
Yeah, I'm not a natural either. A New Yorker.
Not a shot. I've been doing this.
This was meant hang loose, and I was very far from hanging loose.
You live on the drive by. You get the low shaka. You get this shaka. There's no such
I'm
thing
working
as
on it.
1,000 times a day. It's just what we do.
That's cool.
Dylan, last thing, I need you to upload a video to YouTube of you surfing, because if John Mangini can get away with doing nunchucks on YouTube, then you sure as hell can get away with showing you surfing. So please show a video. I want to see a video of you surfing.
All right. Maybe I'll do that, and I'll do I used to be in magazines and stuff, so I have like a bunch of photos and stuff. So maybe I'll do some like.
All right, we need to talk more about that. That's a whole other episode.
I'll do that one day. But right now.
All right, guys, thank you so much. And I felt like this went well. First time doing it with multiple with 3 total people here.
It went all right.
It went pretty good. There's always hiccups with internet and stuff, but hey, either way, it
went great. It went great.
All right, guys. I'll talk to you soon. And for those that watch, thank you for watching.
Thank you.